Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Tech Showdown. Today we're checking out a motherboard that a lot of people are very interested in. It's the Gigabyte Aorus Gaming 7 X299. And let's jump straight into it then with the key features. So of course this is going to support all your new Intel Core X Socket 2066 CPUs, so that's all your i9s, the i7 Skylake X's, and of course the Kaby Lake X CPUs, which I probably wouldn't recommend though. Memory wise, so with your i7 Skylake X's and the i9s, you'll be able to use quad channel DDR4 memory up to 4,400 megahertz in its OC mode, and up to 128 gigabytes of that. When you're using the Kaby Lake X CPUs, you'll be restricted to dual channel though. Now it has RGB lighting all over the place, which some of you may enjoy. To be honest, I'm getting a little bit tired of the whole RGB craze, but maybe that's just me. Audio wise, so it's coming with 121 decibel SNR amp up audio with an ALC 1220 codec and high-end ESS Sabre 9018 DACs with WEMA capacitors. So this gives you premium audio quality. I checked this out and it sounded pretty damn good to me. So it's not always just about the codec, it's about what sort of like surrounds it. It's everything that complements it. And this works really well. So audio wise, I think most of you guys will be very impressed with it. Now it's also coming with SmartFan 5, which lets you set up all your system fans just the way you like it. It has a turbo B clock, so this lets you change the BCLK frequency, which many overclockers like to do. Now it has triple NVMe PCIe x4 M.2 slots, including one with a thermal guard. Now I checked this out and it seemed to help by maybe about 5 to 10 degrees, but I'm not sure if that was a thermal guard or the fact that that one down there is sort of directly behind one of my fans. So maybe that was it. The upper one is actually sort of hides a motherboard screw as well, so I guess that could be a little bit annoying at times. But yeah, it's there if you want to use it. And it has resistors with anti-sulfur design, which they say helps improve reliability. But I guess we'll have to see, maybe someone can test that one day and see if that's actually true. Now let's talk about the layout then and take a tour of this motherboard. So up top we have the IO Shield LED plug to light that up if you really want to, system fan connector, and two 8-pin CPU power connectors. As I've spoken about before, that is something you're probably going to want to look for in a motherboard if you are going to be going for one of the i9 CPUs. Now it's coming with a WBRGB 12 volt connector for your lighting strips, a CPU optional and CPU fan connectors like normal. VRM wise, you're getting an 8-phase VCore configuration with IR3556 MOSFETs. I did test for VRM temps and I saw them sit in about or around 86 degrees. That's what IDA64 is telling me, though I'm not sure if those are accurate numbers, so keep that in mind, because I was also getting really weird numbers for the CPU voltage as well. So there's a lot of funny things going on right now. Moving down a bit more, we see there's a pump header and a temp diode plus your motherboard connector like normal. Another system fan connector, USB 3.0 and USB 3.1 connections, 8 SATA 6 connections, a THB_C connector. That's for your Thunderbolt 2 add-on card for that one person out there that may be still using it. We see 5 PCIe 3.0 slots, so that means if you're running an i9 CPU, you'll be able to do two-way x16 SLI or x16 x16 by 8 three-way SLI. Now if you have an i7 Skylake X CPU, that will drop to x16 x8 for your two-way SLI, and then x8 across the board for your three-way SLI. And yeah, with the Kaby Lake X's, just forget about them because I don't recommend anybody get one of those. Now down the bottom we have a CMOS button there, the new VROC key connector, which is going to upset some people, but that's a story for another day. Maybe you guys can talk about that in the comments. The front panel connector, USB 3.0 hub, a debug readout, which is always good to see, 2 more fan headers, 2 more USB 2.0 hubs, power reset, OC and eco switches, a TPM connector, and more LED and audio connections there. If we go around to the back now and talk about the I/O, so from left to right we have a PS2 port, 2 USB 3.1 Gen 1 ports, 2 more USB 3.1 Gen 1 ports, one of which is to be used when you're flashing the BIOS, the white one that is. 2 more, a single USB 3.1 Gen 2 Type-C port. Then you have your killer Gigabit LAN and Intel Gigabit LAN RG45 connectors with 4 USB 3.1 Gen 2 Type-A ports, killer Wi-Fi antenna connectors, and then all your gold-plated audio connections that most of you guys will want to use. Now let's talk about the BIOS then. So updating it's very easy with their QFlash. Just chuck it on a USB, put it in that white port in the back there, go on and QFlash, and then you just click a few buttons and off you go. Very, very easy to update, and I highly recommend you updating this motherboard as soon as you get it. The BIOS itself is good. I think enthusiasts would really like it. It's got pretty much everything you need there. However, once again, I think some newbies might get a little bit tripped up. But this platform is mainly for enthusiasts, so I think it's the right idea with it. So with the 7900X, I got that up to 4.7 gigahertz at 1.28 volts with ease. No worries at all. And yeah, the BIOS in general, I liked using it as an enthusiast. So if you're an enthusiast, you'll probably like it as well. However, the motherboard wasn't without its issues. This is a new platform, so there's always going to be teething issues here and there. So I had a lot of USB issues, and they were mainly to do with the USB 3.1 Gen 2 connectors. It was kicking out devices like crazy. I'm not sure what's going on there. Using both 8-pin CPU connectors made my test power supply short, like it was tripping all the time, and so it wouldn't boot up or anything. I had to actually use my personal power supply to run the motherboard. To supply both 8-pin CPU power connectors. With just one, it was okay, but as I said earlier, you're going to be wanting to run 2 of them with your i9. Performance-wise as well, it was very mixed, and I think this is because I tested the 7740X against 7700K, and it was very, very mixed. I think BIOS updates will help with this because we saw the same thing with the B350s and X370 motherboards. Which brings us now to the conclusion, and what do I make of the Aorus Gaming 7? So right now at Playtech, well, once it comes in at Playtech that is, it will set you back 850 New Zealand dollars. So this is definitely not going to be a cheap motherboard, definitely for enthusiasts, definitely a high-end motherboard. Now when I look at the Gaming 9, although I haven't tested it yet, it looks like it's going to be better value because it actually doesn't, come with much less than the Gaming 9. And compared to the Gaming 3, which only has a single 8-pin power connector, it's going to be the much better choice for you guys that are going to be wanting to run i9 CPUs, because even a stock 7900X will be pulling, pretty close to 230 watts, which is the most you get out of a single 8-pin. And if you start overclocking, that easily goes well over 300 watts. You're definitely going to want those 2 8-pin power connectors for your CPU if you're running the i9. Now overall, the motherboard has great features. I think it's got enough to keep most enthusiasts very happy. It's got a good layout and the I/O is pretty good, although as I said, the USB issues could be annoying, but hopefully that will get fixed in the future. The BIOS had everything I needed, but it may intimidate some new users, and it's still in its early days, but I really do like this motherboard. I just wish they would fix those issues, and I think then it'll be a really good one to get. However, this is only my first X299 motherboard I have checked out, so take it with a grain of salt because I have nothing really to compare it to except, I suppose, my X99 motherboards I've tested over the years. So just keep that in mind. But overall, yeah, I like it. It's got issues, but I think they will get worked out. Now, I thank you all for watching this video. Please subscribe to Tech Showdown if you haven't already and like the video. And as always, I'll see you guys next time.